I met Kayla at a friend's bachelor party, of all places. It wasn't the wild kind you see in movies. We were at a rooftop lounge, just drinks and a view, nothing over the top. She wasn't part of our group. She was there with some co-workers from her dealership for a team bonding night. I guess that's what luxury car salespeople call drinking overpriced cocktails on a Thursday. She was the kind of woman you notice right away. Tall, sharp features, red lipstick like it belonged in a magazine ad, and the kind of confidence that made everyone else in the room shrink a little. She caught me looking once. Then again. The third time, she walked straight over and asked me what I did for a living. We talked the rest of the night. She liked that I didn't try to impress her. I liked that she didn't pretend to be modest. She made good money, and she made sure I knew it. Commission checks pay for my heels, she said once with a grin. I didn't take it as arrogance. At the time, I thought it was refreshing. She knew who she was, and she wasn't waiting for permission to be loud about it. We started dating the next week. She took me to one of those drive events her dealership ran, where they let high-net-worth people test $100,000 cars they'd never buy. I remember standing there while she explained features of a convertible that cost more than my college education, watching her charm everyone in a 10-foot radius. She was magnetic. We got married a year and a half later. Nothing too big. She didn't want a church or a gown that needed a team of people to carry it. Just a city hall ceremony, a rooftop dinner afterward, and a bottle of champagne someone spilled before the first toast. That was us. We didn't have kids. Not yet. She said she wasn't ready. I didn't push. We had a nice place in a quiet neighborhood, 2 incomes, 2 cars, and 1 dog that was more spoiled than either of us. I work in architecture, project planning mostly. Long days at a desk, lots of time walking job sites or stuck in zoning meetings. She worked long hours too, but in a different way. Her phone was always going off. Clients, managers, texts from people trying to book viewings or schedule deliveries. She loved it, though. Said it kept her sharp. She thrived in that hustle. I never had a reason to doubt her. She liked to say we balanced each other. I was structure, she was motion. I liked having a routine. She liked breaking it. And somehow, it worked. Our day-to-day life settled into a rhythm pretty fast after the wedding. We both worked long hours, but in different ways. I had my job, mostly Monday through Friday unless something slipped past deadline. Kayla's schedule was always fluid. Some days she'd be home by 6, others she'd text me at 9 saying she had to stay for a last-minute handoff or paperwork for an after-hours pickup. That kind of thing came with her job, so I never questioned it. We kept things simple. I handled most of the cooking. She handled anything to do with cars, maintenance, oil changes, registrations. It just made sense. She was already plugged into that world, and half her clients ran their own auto detailing companies or repair shops. She liked having those connections. The house we lived in was a 2-story just outside the city. Not massive, but clean and modern. Open layout downstairs, small patio in the back, garage that she kept spotless, almost too spotless. I joked once that she liked the garage better than the kitchen. She didn't even argue. She liked sleek things. Polished surfaces. Everything had to look high-end, even if it wasn't. She was particular about details, too. Had a habit of straightening throw pillows while we were still sitting on the couch. She said it wasn't OCD, just professional standards. Her job gave her access to some of the flashiest stuff on the market. She'd get temporary company cars, drive them for a few weeks, log the mileage, show them off to clients. They rotated them between top sales staff. One month she had a matte black sedan with massage seats, the next it was a red convertible that made people stare at intersections. She never bragged about it, but she loved the attention. We went out most weekends. Sometimes just to dinner, sometimes to parties hosted by her coworkers or clients. The crowd she ran with leaned expensive, stylists, boutique owners, club managers. Everyone seemed to know her. She had a way of making people feel like they were in on something exclusive. It didn't matter if we were at a rooftop bar or standing in line for coffee, someone would always come up to her with a smile and a, "Hey, weren't you the one who sold that limited edition coupe last quarter?" She'd laugh, nod, introduce me, and keep the conversation moving. I didn't mind it. She was good at being social. I didn't need to be the center of attention. We didn't argue much. If we did, it was about small stuff, schedules, time management, whether she was too buried in her phone. She didn't like being questioned, even about harmless things. Said I didn't understand how competitive her work was. That people in that industry were always watching, waiting for someone to slip. I believed her. We had a good setup. Two people with their own lanes, doing their own thing, sharing space without stepping on each other. She never seemed tired. Always had energy, always had plans. I used to wonder where she got it from. One of the perks of Kayla's job was that we didn't have to worry about our car situation. Every few months, she'd rotate into something new from the dealership's premium fleet, always clean, always detailed, always stocked with features we didn't really need but got used to fast. Heated steering wheels, gesture-controlled dashboards, noise-canceling cabins. I started to feel spoiled and I wasn't even the one driving most of the time. She liked being behind the wheel. Said she didn't trust me to baby the tires. I joked that she just liked making dramatic exits from parking lots. She never denied it. We had friends over once in a while, mostly her coworkers or people from her side of things. Couples who looked like they were always dressed for some soft launch event. Lots of designer brands I couldn't pronounce, drinks with herbs in them, people who talked about investments like hobbies. It wasn't really my scene, but I got used to it. I usually ended up on the grill, beer in hand, listening more than talking. Our finances were solid. We had a shared account for the basics, but we mostly kept our money separate. She liked to spend. Nothing reckless, just regular online orders, shoes, skincare, gym clothes, boutique stuff I didn't even know existed. Packages came every few days. I'd bring them in, she'd open them like she forgot what she ordered, try things on, and half the time they'd disappear into her closet without a second mention. She said it was part of her image. That clients expected a certain presentation. I didn't argue. She looked good. She put effort into it. If I ever said anything about the cost, she'd just brush it off. I sell a $200,000 car and make more in a day than you do in a week. Let me buy the dress. I didn't love that kind of talk, but I didn't take it personally. It was her way of being proud of herself. She liked being sharp. Polished. Always one step ahead. We went on short trips when we could, nothing big, just weekend getaways. She liked spa hotels, rooftop pools, room service with overpriced pancakes. She booked everything, usually last minute, and I let her. I was used to planning in my job. It was kind of nice not having to think about it when we were off the clock. Everything at home ran like a machine. She was rarely late. Never forgot appointments. Never left dishes in the sink. Even the way she organized her closet looked like something out of a catalog. I'd always joked that if she ever left car sales, she could run a luxury concierge service. She liked being in control. We had dinners together when our schedules lined up. Sometimes we'd talk late into the night, just catching up, phones on silent. She never liked sleeping early. Said her brain didn't slow down until midnight. I was usually the one to fall asleep first, with the sound of her scrolling beside me. That week had been hectic for both of us. I was in the middle of a multi-phase zoning review that had been dragging out for weeks, and Kayla had mentioned that her dealership was launching some kind of exclusive incentive push for their top-tier clients. Basically, it meant extra hours and more catered events, the type where champagne and leased convertibles flowed freely. We barely saw each other during the weekdays. She left early, came home late. I usually had dinner ready when she walked in, and we'd eat, watch something short, and head to bed. It wasn't tense. Just busy. We'd had stretches like that before. One night, though, she came home later than usual. It was around 10:15, and I was finishing up dishes in the kitchen. She walked in, kicked off her heels like she'd been on them all day, and dropped her purse on the table with a sigh. "Long one," she said. Client wouldn't stop asking questions. Sat in the car for an hour like he was buying a house, not a coupe. I chuckled. Hope he bought it. She rolled her eyes. He will. Guys like that always do. They just like to feel like they're in charge of the room first. She opened the fridge, took out the wine, and poured herself a glass without asking if I wanted one. I mentioned that I'd made pasta, but she waved it off. Said she ate at the office. It was nothing major, but the way she said it felt rushed, like she was cutting off the conversation before I asked too much. The next day, I stopped by her dealership on my lunch break, not to see her, just to grab a branded cleaner they carry for one of our cars. I'd meant to text her I was swinging by, but work distracted me and I forgot. When I got there, the front desk girl recognized me, smiled, and said Kayla had stepped out to grab a quick bite with a client. I said no problem, grabbed the cleaner, and left. I didn't think twice about it in the moment. Clients and meals were part of her routine. But that night, she didn't mention lunch. We talked about the usual stuff, nothing deep. Work, weather, a bill we'd gotten from the HOA. I asked if she'd had time to eat during the day and she said, barely. Just picked at some trail mix between meetings. It wasn't a big deal. People forget things. But that stuck with me for some reason. Especially because she wasn't the forgetful type. Especially because the front desk didn't say, she's out, or, she's with someone. She specifically said, grabbed a bite with a client. I didn't push it. Didn't accuse her of anything. But it was the first time in a long while where something didn't line up cleanly. And the thing is, despite her talk, I actually make more money than she does. She brought in good commission checks, sure, but my base salary's higher, and I've been in my firm long enough that bonuses hit strong. But she always liked to act like she was the big earner. I let her. It never mattered to me. Still, it was hard not to notice how much she loved talking about clients who were richer than both of us combined. Later that week, I came home a little early. Site meetings wrapped quicker than expected, so I grabbed takeout on the way and figured we could actually have dinner together before 9 for once. I texted Kayla to let her know, and she replied with a thumbs up. When I got in, the house was quiet. Her car was already in the garage. I figured she might be upstairs changing or on a call, so I unpacked the food, opened a couple drinks, and set the table. After 20 minutes with no sign of her, I headed upstairs. She was in the bedroom, sitting at the edge of the bed with her phone in her hand. I walked in and said, "You didn't hear me come in?" She looked up quickly, almost like she'd been somewhere else entirely. Then she smiled and said, "Sorry, was just zoned out for a sec." I asked if she was okay, and she nodded. "Yeah, just tired. Long day. That guy from Monday came back for another test drive and wouldn't shut up about his yacht." She set her phone down screen side down on the nightstand. I sat beside her, leaned in to kiss her cheek. She smiled, but it felt a little stiff. Not cold, just distant. We went downstairs, ate in front of the TV. She picked at her food, saying she wasn't super hungry. I told her to at least have something since she hadn't eaten lunch either, and she gave me this weird half-shrug, like it wasn't worth discussing. Afterward, while she was rinsing off plates, I glanced at her phone. Still on the nightstand, still face down. Not that it mattered, I wasn't the kind of guy who went through messages. But something about how quickly she set it down earlier kept pulling at me. We didn't talk much that night. She was on her laptop going through emails, or so she said. I sat on the other side of the couch watching a game I barely followed. The dog curled up between us like he didn't want to pick sides. The next day, I was heading out the door when she asked if I'd be home late. I said I had a late meeting, maybe wouldn't be back until after 8. She nodded, a little too casually. I ended up finishing earlier than expected. Thought I'd surprise her with coffee and one of those pastries she likes from the cafe near her dealership. I figured I'd drop it off quick, maybe catch her between clients, then head home. I pulled into the lot and didn't even get out of the car right away. Through the showroom windows, I saw her at her desk. She was talking to someone, tall guy in a navy suit, probably a client. He was standing close, leaning slightly on the corner of her desk. Her face was turned up toward him, smiling in that smooth, practiced way she used with customers. I watched for a few seconds, then saw him gesture toward her phone on the desk. She said something, then picked it up and set its screen down. He chuckled, touched the edge of the desk, and she didn't move away. Nothing dramatic. Just, a little off. The week after that visit to the dealership, Kayla's mood shifted. Not dramatically, just enough to notice. She was more locked into her phone than usual. Not scrolling, not laughing at memes, just quietly replying to someone with this blank look like she wasn't even really reading the messages. And if I walked by or glanced in her direction, she'd turn the screen over. One night, I asked her if she wanted to go out, just the two of us, dinner somewhere nice, no plans afterward. She paused, phone still in her hand, then said, "I'm probably gonna be wiped. We've got a VIP delivery in the morning and I need to be sharp." I told her we could keep it simple, maybe takeout and a walk. She hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, okay. If I get out on time." She didn't. That evening, I ate alone. She got home past 9, said she had to stick around for paperwork. I asked how the delivery went and she said it was fine, then immediately changed the subject. I let it slide. A few days later, I noticed her company car had changed again. I hadn't even realized the swap happened until I walked into the garage and saw a new model parked where the last one had been. No heads up, no mention of it. When she came downstairs that morning, I asked, "When did they give you the new one?" She shrugged. "Earlier this week. Management's pushing for more visibility, so they're giving the new models to the top sellers." She said it flat, like it wasn't even worth talking about. Thing is, when she used to rotate into something new, she'd take me for a drive. Show off the features, go on about the engine or the stitching in the seats. This time, nothing. Just a new car sitting there like it had been parked forever. I didn't say anything else. Just nodded. That Saturday, she had a full day of showroom duty. I asked if she wanted me to come by with lunch like I used to once in a while. She looked surprised. "I mean, if you want. But we'll probably be slammed." I said I'd play it by ear. I didn't go. Instead, I spent most of the afternoon fixing up some things around the house. Changed out a light fixture in the hallway. Replaced the broken hinge on the bathroom cabinet she'd been ignoring. I wanted something to keep my hands moving. She came back around 7. Not late, but not early either. I asked how work was. She said, "Busy," and went straight upstairs. Later that night, I saw her get a text while we were both on the couch. The screen lit up, and before I could glance at it, she flipped the phone face down again. I didn't ask anything. I didn't need to. The messages were never from names I recognized. Just first names. Or initials. Sometimes nothing but numbers. She used to tell me who was texting her. Coworkers, clients, even her manager. But now she said nothing. And I stopped asking. Kayla's schedule stayed unpredictable. It wasn't a new thing, her job had always come with last-minute requests, test drives that ran long, clients with money and no respect for time. I knew how it worked. I'd heard all the stories. What changed was how little she told me now. I used to hear everything. Who was being difficult, who tipped, who tried to flirt and got shut down fast. She had names for all of them: Watch Guy, Crypto Hair, Bentley Steve. Now, she barely mentioned anyone by name. Just vague descriptions and half conversations I had to piece together. One night, she came home with a gift bag from some dealer event. Inside was a new designer watch. Not insanely expensive, but not cheap either. She said it was a bonus gift for top performers. I nodded and asked who gave it to her. She hesitated. One of the reps, I don't know, it was a whole thing, they handed them out at the end. That was all. No story, no details. Just a quick answer and a change of subject. The next day, I was on my lunch break downtown and passed a cafe I knew she liked. I stopped in to grab a coffee and saw someone at the counter who looked just like her, same hair, same bag, same posture. For a second, I thought it was her. But when I stepped closer, I realized it wasn't. Just someone with a similar look. Still, it made me realize I hadn't bumped into her unexpectedly in months. For a couple who lived and worked in the same city, it was strange how invisible she'd become outside of our house. That Saturday, she said she had a client check-in and wouldn't be home until later. I asked if she wanted me to swing by with lunch. She smiled, told me not to bother. I'll be running around too much, she said. Barely have time to breathe. I stayed home. Cleaned up the backyard. Took the dog for a walk. Around 2:30, I sent her a quick text, all good over there? She replied 15 minutes later, just wrapping up soon. We'll be home before 5. When she came through the door, she was in a new blouse. Different from the one she left in. She said she spilled something and had to switch into one from her car. No big deal. But I noticed the tag was still on the inside seam. I didn't say anything. I just nodded. Later that night, she was in bed scrolling her phone, the brightness dimmed low. I walked in with laundry, and she locked the screen immediately. Not like she was hiding something, more like she didn't want to be interrupted. She smiled. Hey. Want to watch something? I said sure. We sat there watching a show neither of us cared about, pretending it was just another quiet evening. Her phone buzzed once. She didn't check it. Mine stayed silent. And neither of us asked what the other was thinking. The thing that sent me to her dealership wasn't some dramatic impulse. It was brake fluid. We'd had a small warning light pop up in the dashboard earlier that week, nothing major. Kayla told me not to worry about it. We've got some in the service bay, she said. I'll bring a bottle home. 3 days passed. No bottle. I figured I'd swing by myself. It was a Thursday afternoon, around 3 o'clock. I'd wrapped up early after a supplier meeting fell through. I didn't text her. It wasn't a surprise visit. I figured I'd just walk in, say hi, grab what I needed, and head out. When I pulled into the lot, everything looked normal. A few customers walking the showroom. A couple salespeople clustered near the new model parked inside. I walked through the main entrance and nodded at the receptionist, who gave me a polite smile. She in her office? I asked casually. She nodded. Yeah, she just stepped back there a few minutes ago. Doors closed. I made my way down the hallway that led to the staff offices. Hers was near the end, glass walls, sleek modern desk, a small sitting area for clients. The door was closed, just like she said. I got closer, planning to knock lightly and push the door open. Then I saw it. Through the glass. She was standing with her back to the door, arms wrapped around a man in a suit. Not a colleague, not a handshake. This wasn't professional. It was him, the same guy I'd seen before at her desk. His hands were on her waist. Her face was buried in his neck. They didn't notice me. She pulled back and said something I couldn't hear. He laughed quietly, leaned in, and kissed her. Not fast. Not hesitant. Like it had happened a dozen times before. She kissed him back. Slow. Familiar. Like it belonged there. I didn't knock. I didn't walk in. I turned around and walked out the way I came, not stopping until I reached my car. My hands were steady, which surprised me. I sat there in the driver's seat, one hand on the wheel, one on my lap, eyes locked on the steering column like I couldn't remember how to start the car. I didn't check my phone. I didn't text her. I just sat there, thinking about all the little things I'd ignored. The changed shirts. The late nights. The wine glasses and vague names. The face-down phones. The laugh I saw through the window. She didn't even hesitate. Not for a second. She didn't look guilty. She looked comfortable. Like this wasn't new. Like this was routine. Eventually, I pulled out of the lot and drove home. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't feel anything, really. Just this deep, low silence that filled my chest like cement. She came home later that evening. Same voice. Same casual attitude. Said she had a crazy day, that the service team had screwed up a scheduling order. I said nothing. Just looked at her while she opened the fridge, not realizing her world had already started to fall apart. The next morning, I woke up early. Earlier than usual. She was still asleep next to me, face calm, body tucked under the covers like she hadn't blown her whole life to pieces the day before. I got up without saying anything. Took the morning off work. I made coffee. Then I went upstairs, opened the closet, and started grabbing every single thing she owned. All of it. Clothes, shoes, purses, hangers still attached. Everything went into bags, trash bags, suitcases, boxes. I didn't fold. I didn't organize. I didn't care. I dragged them down the stairs, out the front door, and dumped them all across the yard. Neighbors stared. I didn't care. When she finally woke up and came down the stairs, she stepped outside and stopped cold. "What the hell are you doing?" I didn't answer. I opened the front door wide, walked over to the pile, and tossed out her laptop bag, her spare heels, the sweater she always left on the back of the chair. She stepped toward me, shocked. "Are you serious right now?" I looked her straight in the face. "I know." That was all I said. Her mouth opened. Closed. Then opened again. "Know what?" I pointed toward the driveway. "Your client. His hands. Your kiss." She froze. Then it started. "Wait, you don't understand." I turned my back and walked inside. She followed me to the door, but before she could step through, I slammed it shut. Right in her face. I locked it. Deadbolt. Chain. Then I walked to the kitchen and sat down. My hands didn't shake. She started yelling. Then crying. Then begging. I let her talk to the wood for 10 minutes before she gave up. While she was standing out there, I grabbed my phone and started calling. Her dealership's regional manager. Knew me by name. We'd met at a holiday event once. I told him everything. Not emotionally. Not dramatically. Just what I saw, where I saw it, and who was involved. I gave names. I mentioned she used her office for something very far outside professional conduct. I mentioned company reputation. Clients. Legal risks. He listened. Asked a few questions. By the time we hung up, I knew it was over for her. That evening, I got confirmation, she'd been suspended pending termination. The next day, her company car was picked up from the curb. She sent messages. Dozens. Voicemails. Emails. Even tried using her sister's phone. I didn't answer. I blocked every number. 2 days later, I got a message from an unknown account on social media. It was him, the guy. The client. It was short, she didn't tell me she was married. I'm out. Sorry you had to see that. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. He dumped her. She lost her job. She lost the car. She had nowhere to stay. No fallback. No image to lean on. She was left standing in the yard with her designer shoes sinking into wet grass, watching her entire life get shut out in real time. She thought she had control. She thought she could cheat, lie, and keep the car. She forgot who held the keys. It's strange how fast someone can disappear from your life when you stop opening the door. 3 days after I threw her out, she came back. Not to beg, at least not at first. Just to talk. I didn't answer. She stood at the edge of the driveway, arms folded, trying to act calm while she told me through the door that we needed to handle this like adults. I didn't move. She came back again the next day. This time crying. Said she had nowhere to go. That she'd been crashing at a friend's place. That it wasn't what I thought. That it didn't mean anything. Still didn't answer. I heard from her sister after that, voicemail. Said Kayla had made a mistake and deserved a chance to explain. Said I was being cold. Said you don't just throw away a marriage like that. I deleted it before it finished. The dealership moved fast. Official termination. No references. No payout. Her reputation in the regional market was gone overnight. I had contacts who confirmed it. The industry was smaller than it looked from the outside, and bad news traveled fast. Especially when you burned the wrong person. As for the guy, the client, he never showed up again. No messages after that one. No second chances. He ghosted her just as fast as she'd ghosted our marriage. I started seeing her name pop up in old email threads, bills, joint accounts. One by one, I cleaned them all out. Changed the passwords. Called the banks. Moved every trace of her name out of the house, the paperwork, the routines. I found a trash bag full of her old receipts in the closet. Boutique stuff. Unused gift cards. A handwritten card from someone named C that I didn't recognize. I didn't read it. I just threw the whole thing in the bin and moved on. She texted one last time from a new number, 3 weeks after the day I walked into her office. It was short. Please. Just talk to me. I didn't. I blocked the number. There's something strange about the silence afterward. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel powerful. I didn't feel much at all. I just felt still. The house was quiet. The room stayed clean. The fridge wasn't packed with overpriced snacks I never ate. No more makeup kits crowding the bathroom counter. No shoes left by the door. No half-used serums or floral-scented lotion on my pillowcases. She was gone. The dog adjusted quicker than I thought he would. Still perked up when he heard keys at the door, but stopped running to it. Started sleeping on her side of the bed without hesitation. I didn't explain what happened to anyone outside of a few close friends. Most people just figured we'd separated, that she moved out, that it wasn't working. I let them believe that. The full story didn't need to be told. I wasn't interested in being pitied or praised. She broke the house in half. And I just boarded up the other side and kept walking. It's been almost 2 months now. The house is quiet in a good way. I don't wake up to alarms I didn't set, or the sound of a hairdryer at 6:45 a.m. I don't find half-empty coffee cups in the bathroom, or makeup stains on my towels. The closet feels bigger. The drawers open smoother. People keep asking how I'm doing, and I keep saying the same thing, I'm fine. And I mean it. I'm not numb. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just free. It's like the pressure left the room and took all the noise with it. She hasn't tried to come back since the last message. No letters, no showing up at my job, no fake emergencies. I think she knows there's nothing here for her anymore. She burned the bridge, watched it collapse, and now she's on the other side with no way across. From what I've heard, mostly secondhand, she's couch hopping. Nobody wants to hire her. The dealership community around here is tight, and once someone gets flagged for unprofessional conduct, the doors close fast. Nobody wants drama, especially not the kind that gets whispered about in client meetings. The guy she threw everything away for. Gone. Completely out of the picture. He pulled his account, stopped returning her calls, blocked her the same way I did. Apparently he'd been married once, too. Didn't like messy women, according to a former coworker of hers. It's almost poetic. She thought she was trading up. Playing some high-stakes game with rich men and fast cars and champagne test drives. But in the end, she got dropped by the man she risked it all for. And walked away with nothing. The company car. Gone. The job. Gone. The house. Mine. The reputation. Shredded. She took everything stable in her life, everything structured and solid and proven, and swapped it for a man who liked the way she looked in a dealership chair. I didn't just let her go. I made sure there was nothing for her to crawl back to. Now, I get up early on my own terms. I work out in the mornings. I cook what I want. I take long walks with the dog. I don't have to explain where I'm going, or why I'm not hungry, or why I don't care about some overpriced purse on a flash sale. The silence is clean. It's not cold. It's earned. There's no hole. No missing piece. No what if. Just space. And for the first time in years, I'm not managing someone else's chaos. I'm not cleaning up behind lies. I'm not waiting up, wondering why a simple answer takes 3 sentences too long. I've got everything I need: peace, clarity, a good bed, and a locked front door. She thought I was the kind of man who wouldn't do anything. She forgot I was the kind who'd do everything, once I had a reason. And now she knows what it's like to lose everything all at once. Just like I did. For about 30 seconds. Then I walked away and never looked back.